Hello and welcome back to Bourbon Barrel Talk. I'm your host, Scott Minton. Today we are back in the Brock Bourbon Bar and we are drinking a mailbag. I mean,
who from?
It is from Bhakta Spirits, and these guys are super unique. And honestly, it's weird. I saw them in Facebook Reels. He had some crazy stuff that I was just kind of interested in. I sent him a message on Facebook, and he's like, I'm going to send you a couple things. You tell me what you think. And I'm like, great. So this is what came in the mail. And it is the Indian Single Malt Whiskey finished in Armagnac cask, and it is 56.9% alcohol by volume, which makes it, 113.8, something like that?
Somewhere in the ballpark.
So
what does it make it an Indian single malt? Does it have to be done in India?
Has to be made in India.
Okay. Cool. Just kind of like understanding, because I know there's sometimes that there are scotches and Irish whiskeys that are made in America. Yeah, but they're still calling it that.
So what I'm curious is, so I know the Punjabi region of India is very, very big in making single malts and different types of whiskeys and scotches. I'm wondering what area of India this was distilled in. We got tech support over there frantically looking up stuff, but I don't think he can read well right now at this point.
All right. While tech support's working on that, I believe that we looking at the bottle, it is about 10.5-year regular, just aged.
Yep.
And then another additional 18 months about there in Armagnac?
Armagnac cask, yep.
Wow.
So I'm kind of excited about this. Just first instance, while I was, kind of getting ready to call us in from my little warm-up there, the nose is just crazy. I mean, the Armagnac is really coming through, and then so is obviously that ton of malt.
It's weird. It's like almost I'm getting. I don't know if you are, but it's like a tiny bit of peatiness in there, and that Armagnac is trying to get those fruit flavors to overpower that peatiness.
I'm hoping there's no peatiness, but listen,
I'm getting a tiny bit of popcorn.
Popcorn? Well, it's all malt. I don't know. So,
but yeah, the malt's definitely coming through.
Johnny, Brian, what are you seeing, man?
So I'm trying to make.
He's flabbergasted.
Dude, I am. 4-month Indian single malt was made from 100% 6-row North Indian malted barley, sourced from the Rajasthan.
Yeah. Okay.
Did I say that right?
No, not at all.
Oh,
but
good.
that's okay.
All right, I stumbled through it. Yeah, thank you.
I would have to actually look at it and read it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's the north.
It's on the border
eastern region, closer to like China than the what's the mountains?
Tibetan
mountains.
Dude,
and
how?
stuff like that.
How do you know this?
Hey, you do this shit all the time.
Well, for one, I'm a banker, and I've got a large number of Indian clients.
Yeah, I'm a realtor. I got a large number of Indian clients.
I just kind of know from working with those guys over all these years, they are like, some of them are from Punjab, some are from Basharah, some are from the region where they're just different things. But I literally have to read it in order to see it and read it in order to do it.
You ever had anybody transfer money to you in rubles?
No, I've not had to do that. That's the
conversion
good.
on that's fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, it's like 14 billion to 1.
I won't go into
rupees are very,
rupees,
very,
yeah.
very, very cheap in American dollars. So, yeah, the nose on this thing is crazy.
Because this requires a flavor wheel for me.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely.
This is unique.
Scotty, too hotty, despite the fact that I'm feeling pretty good at the moment, I'm pulling a lot of a sweet tea from this.
I could definitely pick up what you're putting down. Yeah, Northern India. That's what I said. Yeah, so it's probably
like that herbal.
It's probably close to Punjabi or one of those other areas. So Punjabi is right near where the Nepal, what's the big mountain? Mount Everest.
Mount Everest.
So yeah, so like Punjab, I think it's Baharash, I think is what it's up there. But yeah,
I'm just gonna nod and smile.
They're all kind of up there in the top western part of the country. So.
You're bringing me back 15 years. I did a East Asian history class, and I had to learn all about India. And I'm like, what? Huh?
This is just, the nose, it's just so much
there's so
fruit
much, yeah.
and so much malt and so much.
I don't think, I have to be honest with you. I'm looking at a flavor wheel right now. And I don't think the American flavors that we traditionally have describe this whiskey.
No,
yeah,
no.
I don't either.
I'm picking up a licorice, like a black licorice, but it's a sweet black licorice.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I don't traditionally get that in an American whiskey.
No.
Correct. No.
So, this sweet black licorice, I can see your tea. I get that fully. and it's like the tea makes it sweet. And I almost wonder, like with a little bit of water, if I would pull more tea or more complex tea notes off of the finish.
Ooh.
Because on the notes, I'm getting so much licorice.
Okay.
Hey, so you say licorice, I say cranberry wheat. If there was a such thing as a wheat that was a cranberry,
Sounds like a great Starbucks
dude,
breakfast.
oh my
Right?
god, I know, because it's a little weedy, but then I get like the sweetness of cranberry.
Yeah.
But cranberry has
And a
a very
tiny
distinct.
bit of that tart.
Yes,
Yeah,
Ding, ding,
yeah.
ding,
That-
ding, ding,
that's
ding,
There's a
ding.
good tart. Yeah, that's a good nose. Yeah, that's a good nose. You'll never have a UTI after
there's
this one.
Also, there's also a very like
These Indian
fucking
whiskeys,
love this
you
guy.
do not
Come
have
on.
UTIs at all.
there's such a complex grape nose.
And it's UTEAI.
Cardamom, anyone?
Oh, yeah.
just
you and I have a similar palate.
hint of cardamom.
In which
def-
case,
there's-
so do I, because Johnny and I are almost Johnny
Yeah?
on the
Okay,
spot.
so you got the cardamom.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's definitely a
I-
baking spice.
When you
I don't.
said it,
I think
came
it's
right in.
cardamom.
Yeah.
I
It might
think
be.
I
It's a
agree.
baking spice, but it's got a little bit more of a perfumic kind of
Yeah,
quality
it's
to
so
it.
it's not like that nutmeg or ginger. It's
You
or
know-
even allspice. It's not even that.
To me,
I think
to me, the
definitely
yeast
condiment.
on this has to be very, very special.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
when I'm thinking back about the water quality, I'm thinking back about the yeast quality.
Mm-hmm.
This is a yeast heavy, water quality heavy whiskey.
yes,
So what I'm curious about is, so when somebody from India,
Mm-hmm.
when they smell an American bourbon,
Yeah.
like if they're as interested and confused and complex as kind of we are, trying to connect the dots,
Yeah.
because like these are all new things for
Yeah.
us.
That's
No,
maybe even
100%.
Japan. Like when you're looking at American whiskeys in Japan,
Yeah.
I love Japanese whiskeys.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love whiskeys from other places.
Yep.
Oh, we got
Like-
a few.
Oh yeah, like I love whiskeys from other places in the country in the world, and this is a really special one.
So the
Yeah.
Indian dudes that I know that drink, because a lot do not,
yeah, correct.
Yeah.
are typically rye drinkers
Okay.
outside of whiskey,
Really?
outside of like Scotch
So they
or
lean
Indian
towards
whiskey.
rye.
They lean towards rye.
Okay.
The
Maybe
ones
I
that
should-
the ones that I know. Let me preface it
Yeah,
by
yeah, maybe
saying the
we
ones
should
that
explore
I
that
interact
market.
with.
Can they grow rye in that part of the
Rye
world?
can grow anywhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
Rye is
I
the
mean,
most.
I wasn't sure.
If you
like,
can grow
if it's-
rice, you can grow rye.
Yeah, if you can.
I'm typically colder climates though.
Yeah, yeah.
So it had to be northern.
So be near the mountain.
Yeah,
mountainous
near
area.
mountain
Yeah.
ranges.
Rye will grow just about anywhere where you get a little chill. Yeah,
yeah, it has to be
100%.
cold enough. That's why Indianapolis and above, Pennsylvania. Like if you're looking at the consolidated grain stuff, you're looking at Minnesota, Canada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, Northern Indiana rye, and they blend them. So like a lot of your stuff, if you're buying consolidated grain rye, you're looking at 4 to 5 states worth of grain that's been mixed together and then blended and put into your rye.
Ooh,
have
that's
single-
interesting.
You don't have single state rye like we would get from the Pennsylvania stuff that Laura Fields is doing from the Rosen stuff, because that has to be grown in Pennsylvania or in various particular spots.
Okay.
So like your consolidated grain stuff, which is in Louisville here, or just right across the river. Actually consolidated grain is actually I think incorporated in Southern Indiana in the port. Like those types of grains are brought in, ground, and then shipped back out.
Where is there's one distillery that's in, I want to say Virginia, and I can't think of it. There's a woman master distiller there. But anyway, I think they are religiously, they only use Maryland rye, which I thought was crazy.
Yeah.
Because,
Well, that would make it an Allegheny if they do the right.
yeah,
Because your
guess.
Alleghenies are Maryland,
Yeah.
and then your Monongahela's are your Pennsylvania style,
be.
and your Alleghenies are a little different mash bill.
Right, yeah. But
Yeah.
I want to say it was like I can't remember the name of it. Like,
Yeah.
it's like, it begins with a C. I'd
But
have to
even
look it
if
up.
you take that same grain and you spread it across 5 different states or 2 different countries in the different soil, the terroir,
Oh, yeah,
you're going to get
100%.
so much different flavor out
Yeah.
of it. And that's why it's so much like when you taste these, and I'm tasting stuff that I hope is grown in India. I don't know where they get their grain.
I would assume everything comes from there.
Yeah,
They said
like,
that- they said
that's
the-
a cool flavor.
They said the malt came from northern India. I mean, so I
It's
mean,
so great.
Yeah.
Well, did they malt it in northern India, or
I have
did
no
they
idea.
grow the grain and then malt it? Because a lot of times you're going to pick the grain, malt it separately, and there's 500 different types of malt.
yeah.
So you can get, and there might even be so many, like a very few amount of strains, but the amount that the grain malts in each day becomes its own type of malt flavor.
Yeah.
So the tail that creates on the malt is going to give it a different flavor each day that it continues to malt.
Yep.
So like, and then how well do you toast it? How well do you stop that malt? Like the malting process.
Oh, malting's crazy. Yeah.
Oh, it's such a science.
That's
And-
why I love so many things that have unique malts
Yeah.
because they give such an odd flavor profile. And not to steer away from Bhakta because I want to go back to the tasting notes. But before we dive in real quick, there was one that Rabbit Hole actually did that had a double chocolate malt. And I was just like, wow, crazy. So, but anyway, back to this.
I pick up some licorice and I pick up some like black licorice, some chocolate licorice in this.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, tech support here.
Okay.
Hey, so so the most predominant rye that is grown in India is Sikale, and it is grown near the Himalayan mountains.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
so since
That makes
then-
perfect sense.
So and also 2 distilleries have kind of jumped on the bandwagon.
Are these,
I remember
is that rye malt or barley malt?
It just
I would-
says
I would
it
imagine
just
that was
says
the
the
rye. That was the rye.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
rye.
it just says the rye.
The malt's
Okay.
probably only being grown like in their plain areas.
Yeah, and if I recall, back in 16 or 17, Beam had a whole series of different rye
Right.
and malt releases. One of them was Sikale, also 4 grains out of
Right.
Colorado.
Yeah.
They are huge into that Indian type of rye.
Yeah. I remember in 13 BC when they were growing.
But wait a minute, you said this is out of Colorado?
No,
And
no,
they're
no.
pull- they're-
No.
they're-
No.
Where was this that they're buying Indian malt out of?
No, India. Well,
They're-
yeah.
So the malt is coming out of northern India, out of the, you said Maharashtra something area or?
So it says, oh gosh, this is all foreign to me.
Yeah, I get it.
Again,
Wow.
I know,
Wow, really?
I know, no pun intended. But this is also new to me. Yeah, but the rye that they grow the most is that Sikale.
Right. Yeah, the rye they grow the most, but the malt, which is what this is 100% malt because it's in. So I don't know. I'm curious where the Armagnac cask came from. Does it tell you anything about what part of what region of France or where they came from?
I wish, because I love the yak.
Oh, we know.
I love the yak. That's a
But,
fantastic
but
statement.
I agree with Ken. There's some licorice in here. There's a little bit of like a weird like chocolatey flavor.
Yeah.
But then it's just a fruit bomb. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
plum and grape.
Yeah. The
and,
plum is hardcore in
yeah,
this
I
on
mean,
the
just
finish.
yeah, it's so dark, rich fruit. Like it's really really unique.
And Ken, a lot of times on this podcast, we equate tasting notes or nose notes to experiences or memories or something like that. And I'm getting a very like the first time when I was a kid,
When you were attacked by zombies.
when I'm fucking blasting some zombies in the head, just hero of the day.
Him and Woody Harrelson.
Sorry, I didn't
Woody
mean to, I didn't mean to
Harrelson?
derail you.
I mean,
Wouldn't it be
no.
the Brad Pitt movie,
Like-
the Z movie,
World
or whatever?
Z?
World Z. Yeah, there you go.
Worldwide Z.
Oh no! I think the best zombie movie still to this day is Night of the Living Dead.
Yeah,
from
yeah.
George
you're,
A. Romero's.
You're
and
going
Scorsese.
like old school. There we go.
Old fucking school.
What's the lead actor in that? Oh God, he was fantastic.
Not off the top of my head, I can't.
Oh,
remember.
Bruce.
But I
Something.
used
anyway,
I used to
you-
watch it as a kid.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne.
But when I was
No, bro. It's Bruce Wayne. Not Bruce Wayne.
oh, dude, no, I'm speaking. Okay, side tangent about Batman.
Oh my
There-
God.
No,
Oh
just
my
just
Back to the
God.
whiskey.
no. Okay, I will. I'm gonna make a point. First off, sidebar. There is a YouTube short series about a Batman analog horror. It is fantastic. Everybody needs to watch it. So since you brought up Bruce Wayne, that's
Okay.
on you.
All
I'm
right.
gonna say that. Back to my original point. I have a memory of the first time.
Bruce Campbell.
Oh, Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. There
Absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Evil Dead.
Okay, sorry. Thank you.
Kandarian Demon. A lot of my friends. They're
Dude,
actually mine's. Okay.
You've went straight nerd on
Shameless-
movies.
The
shameless plug.
Necronomicon.
Shameless
I mean,
plug.
let's talk about it.
I've done several shows with Mind's Eye Theater Company in the last couple of years.
I don't know what
they're
that is.
doing. It's a local community theater.
Okay.
And I've had the pleasure of working with them for a couple shows in the last year. And next month they're doing Evil Dead the musical, which
No
is
shit.
fantastic.
Really?
We're at the Arts Sanctuary in
Yeah.
Louisville, and it is wonderful. And I
Send
know
me an email.
I know. I will send you a link. I know
I'm gonna
several
take
people
my
in the
10-year-old,
show.
give her
It's-
PTSD.
Well, there's a splatter zone. So you get splattered with fake blood.
It's like a Gallagher
wonderful.
show. You get
Yes,
the
it is.
squishins on you.
It's great.
Get some melon squishins.
But I have with this in pertains to this whiskey. I
Yeah.
have a memory of my dad. The first time like we had a grill out, and that smokiness. This is a very smoky.
Yes.
Forward
Yes.
whiskey, and
Yes.
so I'm having this memory of like a smoked fish or a smoked meat, that's kind of been sitting there for a while. So I don't know why I said all of that. Sorry, I'm
No,
having
I
a
think
great
that's
time,
actually
but-
that's spot on because this
Yep.
is okay. I hope we don't mind if I can pontificate for a second.
Have
If
fun.
you,
It's all right. Somebody else
At
has.
this point, please.
we just had a whole good time about Evil Dead and Bruce Campbell and all those
and
things.
Army of
pontificate
Darkness
is
is
a
better.
$50 word. So you
$50
go
word.
for it.
You guys got to pay
100%.
me with a bottle of this. So if you were to bridge American whiskey and Japanese whiskey, this is a good middle ground. And I hate to say that because of the geography, because it is kind of a middle ground depending on which way you fly. But that smoke, almost peat, is underplayed in this.
Yeah, but a lot of I have a few Japanese whiskeys that I can
Yes.
go to for comparison. I don't get much peat.
I don't get any peat on this.
I do.
You don't
Do
get
you?
don't
Oh
get-
yes.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not getting peat
There
on this.
is smoke on this.
It's there.
Yes.
I get smoke. I don't get
If
peat.
you had a couple
Well,
drops of
no.
water,
It's the smoky peat.
What does it say?
Smokiness is.
fucking cardamom, cacao,
Hey, mouth.
peat smoke, bitches.
hey, let's just high five right here. Where's the palate?
I'm just saying I don't get peat, and for me, I don't like peat, so I'm.
Oh,
find
we
it,
know.
I find it.
I
odd.
actually don't like peat either. I'm not a Scotch drinker. I do love the Japanese whiskey smoke that they put in, and it's just a little. It's like the introduction to peat. If you were trying to go to a Scotch, a Japanese whiskey is a great way to start. If you can't get to a Japanese whiskey, this is a great place to start before a Japanese whiskey.
Well, and because a lot of times I think peat is associated with that real earthen
Yes.
flavor.
Right.
So the smoke, you're picking up some of those complex spices
Yeah.
with the smoke.
Right.
Peat. And
Yeah.
so I think you're right, Scott. It's still a peat, but it's like toned down and that smoke
it's
is
not
overpowering.
It's not
it.
crazy earthy peat because when I think of peat, I think
Right.
of taking your flip flop, throwing it in the bottom of the lake, letting it sit for 3 weeks, and then pulling it out and then drinking something over that moldy shit that you just got out of that flip
So
flop.
I am not a Scotch drinker, okay? So, I don't like peat. I love Japanese whiskey because I love that ability to bring in the smoke but not overpower
Right.
the whiskey.
Yeah.
This is a step back from that on the finish.
Yeah.
Like that mid-finish to the finish goes peat to me.
Yeah.
It goes smoky to me. Now, I get licorice on the front.
Yeah.
But the mid-palate ends smoky and goes finish smoky.
Yeah.
And I do like that. I think that's a really cool mid, like if you were trying to bridge as a drinker.
Yeah. Like I said, for
But
me,
you don't get any of that peat. You
I
don't get any smoke.
I get smoke. I don't get peat. When I equate peat, when I think of peat, I think of flip flop in the lake.
Have you
That was
that
in the
funky-
That was in the bonfire.
Lagavulin.
burn rubber?
Right? Lagavulin or
Yeah,
super
Lagavulin or whatever.
Lagavulin, yeah,
whatever
super
it
old
is.
Macallans, like that's
Yeah.
peat. This is smoke.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that there's not peat in this. I'm saying that I'm not getting the peat forwardness that I would get from a traditional Irish Scotch versus.
It's so
this.
interesting how you and I are so similar in a lot of things, but so different in so many. Like you have just a palate that's a 180 of me. I'm happy to have.
No. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
No, I think it's a good thing. That's the great thing about whiskey.
I
is
see where you're
everybody
going
has
with
a palate.
I see where you're going with the peat stuff, but to me, usually if I get a heavy smoky
Yeah.
flavor to it, I'm going to equate that to
Peat.
Peat.
Okay.
Into that.
And
Now,
maybe that's
there-
a
there-
fair assumption.
But then there are extremes to peat that come out, and I think you're, Scott, describing the extreme peat, like the holy crap peat.
Like I've had dudes that are like, here, try this 35-year Lagavulin, and then somebody said, here,
water?
have this
did?
50-year-old Macallan, and I drink it, and they're like, this is a $6,000 bottle of whiskey, and I'm like, I sip it, and I'm like, why are we drinking this?
Add water.
I'll
This goes
have a
heavy
drop.
peat. This
It goes
goes heavy
heavy
peat. Do you agree?
Why do I want to go heavy
Absolutely.
peat? I don't like heavy
Oh,
peat.
hey, Kent,
Well,
hey,
I'm not
we know
asking
that.
you whether you like heavy peat. I'm telling you to taste the whiskey. Like that's a
Fair,
different
Ken.
thing.
Fair.
hey,
Like
Kent-
this goes heavy peat. Actually, too much for me.
Fair.
I think meat. This
Then
is
throw it
much
away.
better.
And so
Get-
knowing
get the
that
water out of my
you
face.
tell Scott to go ahead and add water to it to
You know
suck
what?
it up.
I did it anyway. That's right.
Oh,
I appreciate
baller,
you. I appreciate
shot
you.
caller.
I appreciate you tolerating me.
I love that it wasn't me this time.
Yeah, no, like this goes too heavy peat to
Bitch.
me
Or
with
eight-
water.
Yeah, hey, so-
20-inch blades on my Impala.
This is
Thank you.
You guys are going straight late early 90s, just like some J Crew, whatever you call this.
J. Crew? No. This is not J. Crew.
J Crew, J Town, whatever you call me.
Oh my
Jeff
God.
Boy.
Jeff Boy.
Oh,
He
my
said
God.
Jeff Boy. I said the Dirty J.
Sorry.
Dirty J.
Yeah,
all-
these
it's all the
weirdos. I
same.
don't know where people get this.
It's
from.
you're all
funny.
related.
It's funny, like people talk
Oh,
about
yeah.
going to Jeff High, like they
That's
went to
definitely much
like
more
school
peatful
in
with a
inner
drop
city
of water.
Chicago. Like we're
So yes, now the smoke is going away. The earthiness is coming through with the water.
It's much heavier peat with water, and I don't prefer it with water.
Hey, so, Ken, so you mentioned licorice.
Yes.
By licorice, I assume you mean black licorice.
Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to say this. So for those of you that are like me that do not like black licorice, it is softer and a little creamier.
Yes.
I mean, it is not that
Correct.
that in-your-face ouzo type
Yes.
of black licorice.
Yes.
So it's palatable
That's
for those
that's
of you.
hardcore. That you just went ouzo right there.
Correct.
Yo.
Well done. Well done. Cheers to you, sir.
And even to go back on, I think Scott, did you say you got kind of a fruit forwardness to it? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm still picking up on that.
Yeah,
I
like-
don't know what kind, but it is
It's-
a sweeter, fruity.
It's
ness to
dark, sweet fruit. I mean, it's fig. It's
Yes.
It's plum.
Yes.
It's grape. It's that dark, rich fruit that's in the mid palate. Now it's all gone because I can't taste anything but fucking peat.
Oh, hey, but all those fruits, they were smoked for 2 hours at 250 degrees.
Really?
Is that
No, you
what
just
the
made that up.
website says?
No, I'm telling you that in that. So all the fruit that I get, it's a very smoky fruit.
Oh yeah, like they put
if
it in
you-
a smoker. Right?
If you've ever
Gotcha.
had a smoked peach,
Yeah.
or pineapple,
Yeah.
nah, not so much pineapple for this, but peach,
yeah,
yes.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Smoked peach or pineapple?
Yeah, like have you ever grilled or smoked
Dude, I
any
am
kind of pineapples or peaches?
Oh.
Like to
I
make
feel like we're gonna need to grill at my house.
Oh, my
and
God.
You're gonna have
No,
to show me this.
the one of the best
Yeah,
tacos on
pellet
the
grill.
entire planet is a grilled fish taco with grilled salsa. So you grill the pineapple, the peaches, the strawberries.
Oh shit!
Chop it all up with cilantro, onion, and a little tomato, and just put it over top of it with some jalapeno to die for.
minus
So-
cilantro.
I'm gonna buy you a chef's outfit and a hat, and I'll talk to my wife about it. We can coordinate this.
Oh, hey, but it needs to be closed in the behind.
Me and
No.
Me and Johnny
chaps.
Tsunami can throw this
Assless
together.
chaps, a little bit of a
Assless
chef's
chaps.
hat.
Can I have the little hole in the little
Dude,
thing at the
I
front?
lived next to Miss Kentucky 2000 and something, and she would love that. And
Is she an ESPN broadcaster?
no, she's a pain in my ass. So can't wait for you to do that. That'd be great. Give me an HOA referral on that one.
Yeah.
Um,
All right. Back to the review.
This is no. I don't mind. I'll talk shit all day long about that one. If you want to push my buttons, we'll go. I feel
Go
like
to the
you're in a
neighbors
whole
neighborhood association. The HOAs.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to Bhakta. This is to me is definitely a neat pour.
Yeah, it has to be a neat.
I like it. I like it a lot as a neat pour with a drop of water, dude. I'm still licking peat off the front of my
If you added
lips
ice
and,
to this, you're basically eating peat.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to sloosh it?
A
And
what? A
loosh.
Loosh, not
My
sloosh.
God, this dude will mess up any word you give him.
It's all right. Munching on Pete? No.
Do we know if and it maybe some of our listeners who might be in the Indian regions, do they typically drink their whiskeys neat, or do they do a lot of cocktails in that region of the world? Like, do you know
I have
anything?
no idea.
I would be interested to
I feel like we need to call our clients.
The dudes that I know are typically they will add ice to almost everything. The dudes that I know, and a lot of them are big Johnny Walker fans, which for the life of me, I cannot understand.
well, that makes sense
Same.
though. While this is so
Yeah,
peaty,
yeah,
have you guys tried the Johnny Walker High Rye?
I've not.
Yeah, so the Johnny Walker High Rye you will not find in the Scotch section. Actually, maybe you will. It's a green label. It is a phenomenal rye, and it is brilliant, and it has a completely different flavor than most of the ryes that you're going to taste. And it's $35. Johnny Walker High Rye, green label. It is phenomenal.
Nick, find it.
It's good stuff. And so a lot of the prototypes that we came out with when we were testing just like early stuff was very similar to a Johnny Walker High Rye.
Okay,
And
fantastic.
so I highly encourage that. Very low peat. It's not going to taste like a Scotch, but it does have a good flavor to it. Very high on the mid palate and the nose. I would encourage everybody to pick it up. You can get it at the Total Wines.
Another nerdy thing that I like about this particular bottle is it's got a What the fuck are you laughing at?
Got a
for,
crystal
Barbara?
cork, and it's a beautifully designed bottle.
The bottle's well done.
I'm picking up, like, if you've ever seen the Alec Baldwin movie The Shadow from the 90s, I'm picking up that kind of vibe, like that noir 1930s.
No, you're going the wrong way. This is kind of like the Gatsby
Yes.
style bottle.
Gatsby.
Okay, 1930s, Nick. Like,
Wow,
that's pretty
wow.
close.
That is pretty damn
Oh,
close.
you kiss your
Nicholas.
mother with that mouth, Johnny?
I kiss my wife.
Down under.
No comment.
Back to Bhakta. Neat for me. I'm gonna rate it because we didn't have anything to put it up against, right? So
Correct.
I'm gonna go 7.5 to an 8, somewhere in that ballpark. Neat.
I agree with you, and I think it is better than a lot of the Scottish Highland heavy peat variety.
Right.
I like that smoke, so I'm going to say a 7.5.
And I'm basing this
7.4.
off being a whiskey, not comparing it to bourbon or rye. Reference my score by that. If I was going to compare it to bourbon, it would be a much lower score.
So I don't have a score, but I'm now interested in Indian single malts.
Yeah, I've got a really fancy one at my house that a customer gave me that I can bring over. We can crack it, but I kind of like to crack it with some dudes that are from there, just because the simple fact is, like, it's hard to find the one that I have.
I'm sorry, I have to go to a 6. Because,
6? Yeah,
it just that's smokiness, even segueing into a little bit of peatiness, it gets to me. If I'm throwing it up against, like, some of that Nika coffee style Japanese whiskeys, those I really like. Even Barbara's got me into a few of the single malts, like the 12-year McLaren. No, it's not McLaren, but you know what I'm talking about. But anyways, those nice 12 years McLaren, yeah. Those are like really sweet spots that are really good. Doesn't get really smoky, doesn't get peaty, but has great flavor.
Exactly.
Yep. All right.
Okay, I'm gonna have to go neat. Gonna go about a 7.2.
All right. Ken?
I'm going to give presentation a 9.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Because I
Agreed,
I
totally.
think this,
Presentation's
I think this
beautiful.
bottle is phenomenal. I think the cork's phenomenal. I think presentation's phenomenal. Whoever is doing their design is doing great.
Yep.
Absolutely.
I'm going to give neat. I'm going to give it a 5.5.
Okay.
Okay.
Because I think that there are a lot better international whiskeys.
And that's probably fair. Like I said,
I'm
I'm
just
going
not-
off of what I...
Right.
I'm not a Scotch drinker. Most of the stuff I've tried is Scotch. I've had a few of the Nika coffees, things
Don't
like
feel
that.
attacked.
No,
Don't
no,
feel-
I'm
don't
not.
feel
No, no,
attacked.
I'm not. I don't feel attacked at all. I'm just telling people why I voted the way I did.
Yeah.
Is that outside of those Nikas and a couple of like the Hibikis or things
Yeah.
like that I've tried, to me this is far better than any of the other things that I've tried
okay.
in those Scotchy regions
Right,
or
right.
things. And to me, it's because I really enjoy that dark plum and fruit that's coming off in that mid palate
Right.
for the finish.
If I was to put it up against any of the Japanese whiskeys that I've tried, I would rather have a Japanese whiskey.
Okay.
So I would put this in a 5.5. If I was going to add water to it or one rock, I would say it's a 3.5 to a
Dude,
4.
yeah, to me the peak is too
but
prevalent.
it's not
Yeah.
it's not to be insulting to the brand. It's
Right.
just not my palate, and I think it's much more appealing to an international audience than an American
Yeah,
audience.
yeah.
So yes, it's awesome. Yes, the bottle's badass. I think whoever the creative designer is needs a raise. I love how the bottle, like, that clear cork on the top. I think everything about this is phenomenal. And it's a stable and solid addition to your home bar. Well, this is one of those things that you want to have a conversation about.
Yep.
So you should buy it, and you should be able to have a conversation about it. I want to see something that's Indian, from India, that has a unique profile that speaks to India. This doesn't speak to India to me. This just means, like, this is like not quite Scotch, not quite Japanese, not quite American.
Right.
Where's its uniqueness?
But do you
Okay.
think that he finished it as a way to kind of introduce it to America?
I think that would be my take on what his is like. Hey, I want to introduce Indian whiskey to America.
It's a great start.
What makes it approachable? Let's finish it in Armagnac, or
Yeah.
let's finish it in something else, right?
Yeah.
Like, and for me, that's what makes this more unique, and the thing that I like about it is the fact that it has that Armagnac
Right.
like mid palate. Like
Yeah.
it's so sweet.
I really do believe this should be a staple in everybody's bar because it is a wonderful flight addition.
Yep.
Like if you were to take, your whiskeys to your scotches to your Japanese whiskeys, and you could really go a gamut because it's a nice middle ground.
Right. Yeah. What's the price point on this before we get off? Before we sign out?
$149.99.
$149.99. Okay.
I'd be very interested to try it without the Armagnac.
Yep. The one I'm really curious about, they just released it, is they have their newest rye whiskey, which is finished in a Calvados barrel.
what?
Calvados.
That's new to me.
So we'll talk about that off camera.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Educate
So
me.
we'll go from there. And that's our review of Bhakta. If you want to find Bourbon Barrel Talk, you find us on Facebook, the Instagram, or the X. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Send us any questions via email to bourbonbarreltalk@gmail.com or through Insta or Facebook. This is Scott, the Brox, Ken, Brian, and Johnny Tsunami signing off. Peace.
Prost.
Peace out.
To infinity!